Hello everyone, this is Al1701 with a kinda delayed initial reaction to Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon Crystal, our long-awaited Sailor Moon reboot. We've been hearing about this for a long time, and it's finally come, and I have seen episode 1. Uh, the first episode, from a narrative standpoint, was practically identical to the uh, first episode of the original series, which was obviously similar to the first chapter of the manga. From what I've heard, this new series is going to follow the manga more closely, both in terms of the artwork, hence Usagi being a stick, and from storytelling. Uh, the one drawback I can see from this is in regards to Nephrite. Um, if you're a fan of Nephrite from the series, better known as Nephrite here in the States, uh, and haven't read the manga, you're gonna be disappointed if they decide to go the manga's route with him because he was a much less interesting character in the manga. But obviously, we're gonna have to wait and see what they do with him to make any judgments about that. Uh, but yeah, at least for the first episode, it's basically the same from a narrative standpoint. Though we are getting a big change next week as they're going to jump straight into Amy's introduction next week. So we're not going to have that span of a half dozen episodes that was just Usagi. I don't know if this means we're going to be getting all of the Sailor Soldiers one after the other, or if we're just going to get Amy and Ray and then have a pause. But yeah, whatever the case, we're getting Amy next week. I guess we are gonna have to see if next week's episode plays out like the episode that introduced her in the first series. Probably the case because again, I think that it's based off a chapter in the manga. So yeah, in terms of the actual story, yeah, not much has changed. Most of the plot points played out like they did in the first episode. The one change is now Usagi gets her powers at night and goes to the jewelry store at night. Um, we also don't get to see Jadeite or much of well, we see Jadeite, but we only barely see him in shadow for a short time, and a similar case with Beryl. So we're not going to get the big introduction that we had in the first series. You know, basically we just see Jedi forming a monster and Beryl monitoring things without much narrative input from them. Uh, so also one of the changes is instead of Jedi being somewhere holding a giant energy ball, the energy's instead being kept in the cylinder that the monster has. Uh, and also because this happened at night and not while the store was full of people, the monster uses the cylinder thing to summon everybody that she has afflicted to come in to beat up Usagi. But the battle still plays out the same thing. Usagi cries, and the things in her buns broadcast her crying into a sonic weapon. Da 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 da. Uh, but yeah, that's basically the changes in the narrative. So therefore, most of the differences between this series and the original series, at least to this point, are cosmetic. Obviously, the biggest cosmetic change is Usagi now looks like she's 17, not 14. Uh, this again comes from a decision to make this more like the manga, and the manga took as its inspiration uh, fashion concept art, which often has the people drawn as much taller and thinner than normal. So therefore, in the manga, they were taller and thinner than normal. Uh, and so in this series, they're taller and thinner than normal. Uh, So yeah, that's where the taller Usagi is, and also the more detailed hair. The hair was incredibly detailed in the manga. Um, though admittedly, uh, it might be exaggerated. The change at least might be exaggerated by the fact that the people who made the first Sailor Moon season were also the people who made Goldfish Warning, and I suspect they continued on. Many of them continued on, even if Junichi Sato didn't. Uh, and Goldfish Warning has a style in which the characters are a little bit shorter and a little bit chubbier than normal. And in fact, they have they had different character models for each of the characters depending on the situation. If it was a serious situation, they had near normal human proportions. If it was a kind of silly situation, they go semi-chibi, and then they go full-on chibi when the situation was absolutely ridiculous. And that kind of carried over into Sailor Moon, particularly with Usagi. If she was being silly, you might notice that her model seems slightly shorter, slightly chubbier, and slightly more simplified compared to more serious situations. Uh, so yeah, that might have exaggerated just how incredibly thin and tall Usagi is in this new series. From the audio aspect, it's mostly an improvement. The music's better. They had very good casting so far. I'm kind of disappointed that the opening does not use the original theme melody at all. They did their own thing, and I mean the da 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 da. That's kind of iconic to Sailor Moon on the screen, but I guess they decided uh, that they were going to do their own thing, and I can't blame them. It's their series to work on. Uh, in terms of other visual aspects, they're a bit more detailed. For one thing, Tuxedo Mask is apparently constantly in a tuxedo-like thing. I mean, we got to see him just walking around being normal, and he's wearing a tuxedo. I don't know. Maybe the story's a bit different with him. Thing is, maybe I should talk to my sister. She actually read the manga. I didn't. Uh, so yeah, we'll just have to see. I'm trying to think of things to say about this. Oh, the transformation sequence. I have to admit, I do not like the cell shaded CGI that you see in a lot of anime shows now. I guess I don't even know how to explain why I have an issue with it. I just do. And but yeah, the transformation CGI, but otherwise it's unchanged. I mean, actually, I'm amazed at how basically they used the exact same script from the first episode with just minor changes. Uh, so I guess I'm gonna have a hard time saying whether or not this new series is better or worse because I put a lot of emphasis on the storytelling, the writing, the narrative. And since it's basically the same, both series are basically the same to me, which is not a bad thing. I like the original series very much. I think I'm going to like this, having seen the first episode. We're just going to have to see, how things play out. I have to admit, I am kind of happy that maybe the series is going to move along a little bit faster. But again, we're just going to have to see where things go. I mean, who knows what's going to happen as they get into the series. I think I said just about everything I have to say about this. Like I said, this is kind of an initial reaction to it. It's just me stating the ideas that come into my head. That's why it doesn't sound as organized as my normal reviews. I didn't bother to script this. I just turned on my record and said what I wanted to say. Uh, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this for the next episode. Uh, like I said, it's going to introduce Amy and Sailor Mercury. And we'll get to see if, even though we're going to be skipping over a bunch of episodes, if that episode's going to be similar. It probably is. Uh, all I can say is stay tuned. Like I said, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But until my next review, which is, I was gonna do something pony this week, but then I decided I'm gonna try to blow through Futago Hime this month, with just 3 more reviews to go. So stay tuned for my next video on Friday. Like I said, I might or I might not talk about Sailor Moon again. Until next time, see ya.